Chitty chitty gangbang.
Chitty check.
Hey. We started a little bit early because we wanted to be able to share the link. So if you're following us right now, just hang on for a minute while we copy the link and we paste it into various places, okay? So
and if you can, comment to let us know you're here.
Yes,
we want to know who's watching.
On.
We don't know. We don't know anything. We've never done this before.
How do we get the share?
So, okay. Yeah,
here we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Us techno.
Okay, you do that. I got a laptop over to be sharing as well.
Okay, so I'm going to share it first. Well, because I'm right here. How about this? I'll share it right here. Okay, we are live.
We are live. All right, girl.
Okay, and then you can copy that.
Same thing.
And put it onto yours.
This is so fun.
This is so fun. Oh, except I posted a Spirited Healing. I need to post it. That's Michelle. Here we go.
Yeah.
And then where else did I put it? Oh, yes, in the village. If you've been trying to follow Amanda and I, we run a couple of groups on Facebook. Amanda runs Rise. It's just called Rise, right?
Yeah.
And it's all caps. So if you want to find it on Facebook, you could look her up in all caps, Rise. That's her group, Ask to join. I run the Spirited Healing Village on Facebook. And so we are updating our little posts in our Facebook group so everybody knows where to find us. Join our groups if you wanted to. Then you can stay in touch with us. But we decided we should try like new platforms. So here we are. Okay, how do I get rid of this now? There we go.
All right. Awesome.
I think I put it everywhere I needed it to go.
Yeah, it's just coming on for me. So you could start chatting. Okay. And I'll be sharing over here to Rise.
We're so excited to start this adventure together. This is my 10-year anniversary of being in business as Spirited Healing.
What? That's huge. 10 years?
10 years.
Wow.
It's been a decade of magic.
As we step into a new decade.
As we step into a new decade.
How
Exactly.
Cool.
So when I started this business, it was the start of the previous decade. And now I was thinking, like, how am I going to amp things? How am I going to amp things up? It looks like we have 6 people watching us.
I think so.
Who's watching? Comment so we can see you. Good morning, Patty. It's awesome to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, Patty. Hi, Patty. This is so great. Yay.
So I started thinking, oh, and Stephanie, you're here too. Good morning. I was thinking it would be really awesome to try doing live streams on YouTube. And who would be better to do it with but my soul sister, Amanda Perrone.
That's me.
And so we, like, I'm going to be totally transparent and honest because that's what everybody loves about both of us.
Yes, ma'am.
We we're drinking martinis in a Chuck's Roadhouse back in the summer. Was it like June?
Yes.
June or July? No, it was June. You're right. It was June. It was June. And we plotted out this whole vision of conversations that we wanted to have together with an audience online. And then we had like this grand brainstorm and Amanda has all the notes and then we did nothing with them. Because life happens, right? Hello, yes. Diana. It's so great that you're here too. Diana. Welcome, welcome. If you want us to shout out to you, tell us you're watching us live so we can say hello. So anyway, so cool. This title, you probably saw in the video, is You Can't Get Spirituality Wrong, was the first module that we had mapped out. And so we thought this is where we want to deliver it.
Yes. So rather than make it like, a fancy series where we had everything figured out and scheduled and yada, 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 we were like, okay, what do we love to do? I love to go live and Michelle loves to teach. And so
I love to do it live.
Yeah. So here we are live talking about how you can't get it wrong. And so if I can just start by explaining, we certainly,
you are. Not everybody knows you.
Right. Yes. I'm Amanda Perrone. Hi, everyone. So I'm what's called a moon mother, and I teach women about the rhythm and cycle of the moon and how it corresponds to our body and all of creation. And I think Michelle already told you where you can find me, but I run a free group called Rise. So feel free to join there where I talk all things moon. And I'm at this for about 5 years now. We were talking about that before we went live. I started out with a different name, so I don't know exactly how long Rise has been born. I'm going to find out because I thought, well, that baby deserves to have a birthday.
She totally
does.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been at this for about 5 years. And so to our original topic of you can't get it wrong, you might notice that we're live streaming from Michelle's personal page right now because we went to go live in YouTube and discovered you have to activate the live feature at least 24 hours in advance before you can do it.
Which, funnily enough, we thought we had done on the Spirit Healing YouTube page.
Right.
But it turns out we didn't.
Yeah. We did it, right? And so we, rather than, there's no way that either of us are ever going to be rescheduling or not going through with what we've said we're going to do, because it's all about practice. That's the point, right? So 100%. If we were to abandon our plan because it didn't work out like we thought it would, and instead now it's on a personal page instead of where it should have been, or I made the joke / not total joke of, well, we could just go live on Facebook. Yeah. And Michelle said, no, that's not what we're here to do.
And really, we thought it was so in keeping with the theme here. Yeah. Like, you cannot get this wrong.
No.
And often I've found in my time in the trench that people say they're going to wait till they know everything before they start.
Yeah.
And here is like the little insider secret. Okay, you ready for come closer. A little insider secret.
I want to hear.
What? You are never going to know everything.
Never.
Like, not until you die.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you pass over, in my belief system anyway.
Me too.
Is that your consciousness opens up and you become one with all of the information. That's when you know everything at the end.
And I believe really strongly in practicing. Oh, Selena's here. Hi, Selena and Tracy.
Selena and Tracy. Good morning, beautifuls.
Yeah, I believe wholeheartedly in practicing. Whenever we're trying to create a new space for ourselves, right? It's like a little pinprick at first. So you go in, right, and you start and you create that new space and you give it a try, you give it a whirl, and then maybe you retreat back to what feels safe for you.
That happens a lot, right? Like the retraction.
And then you come back out and you try again and you practice more. And then you go back into where you feel safe. And then eventually when you're going back into where you feel safe, you're going back to where you began. And so that space that you've created for yourself is expanding and getting bigger and bigger, and you're filling it with different things. And in my personal opinion, the only way you can get it wrong is just by not trying.
By not even starting. Hey, Sandy, I'm so glad you could make it too. Good, Yay! Gorgeous morning, as Amanda loves to say. So the reason that expansion and contraction happens is because that's literally how we move forward. And when you are testing out new information, you go out there with all of your own assumptions and the things that you hold to be true, and you're out now in a new space and you discover that, oh shit, I didn't know everything. And you pull back.
Yeah.
If we can really embrace the notion that you will never know everything, it gets a lot easier to go from your expansion moment to your contraction moment and back into expansion. You don't have to stay back where you were until you've learned all of the more stuff. You just embrace that you don't know everything. And let me tell you, that was like a hard one lesson for me. I don't know about you, but
Oh God, yeah.
I am like headstrong. If my mom were watching, she would tell you stories. I grew up in a household, and really my family is known for being particularly hard-headed and being sure that they are right all the time. And honestly, one of the hardest lessons for me on this journey has been learning that you have to let go of your need to be right. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as you can sink into the truth that you are probably going to be wrong, there is so much more information available to you because you're open to totally different experiences.
Yeah, that's beautiful. For me, it would have been more of just being afraid to get out there, being afraid of I was very afraid of shining, as our title is here. I've tried in the beginning of my journey, to stay hidden. I certainly I would say I would probably be the opposite, where I was more like, I was never right. I was never right. One of the stories that I was running in my mind for a long time was that I, didn't have any common sense and I couldn't get it right. So I would not try until, I began to understand that it's in the try that I learned who I was. I learned what I was capable of. And now I'm not afraid to try anything anymore. I'm out there all the time because it's, like I've said, it's just practice. And I want to carve those spaces out for myself. And I think part of that too is like learning how to be gentle with yourself and just understanding how creation works. If you're not going to try and you're going to wait until you have absolutely everything right, well, you're going to be waiting forever. And
it's
fuck
true.
them. We can swear, right?
I've already sworn.
Fuck
if
that.
we can't swear, we're sorry.
Yeah,
we're going to swear
Don't
anyway.
subscribe to us unless we swear.
We did say this wasn't a video for children, so I don't think I have to worry
Yeah,
about
that's
that part.
true. Okay. So like, fuck that. Like, I'm not going to stay stuck for, hoping
For
and
anyone's
waiting,
benefit. For anyone's benefit.
And if I was just teaching my son about, actually, he was saying it to me. He was mirroring my teachings to me yesterday about how, well, like, you kind of want to make mistakes, right, Mom? And I was like, hell yeah, you want to make mistakes. Like, that's why I had a coach, and he used to say to me all the time, you know why I'm a little bit further ahead of you? Just because I've made more mistakes than you.
Exactly.
That's it.
So hey, Elise, I see that you just found where to comment on us. It's so great you could be here. Thanks for joining us. I wanted to jump in and say, for me, what drew me most to spirituality, because I don't know how many people know, but I was raised in a very Catholic home, and we went to church every Sunday. My mom was a reader, and I sang in the choir. Like, my mom founded Sunday school groups. I taught Sunday school. I founded a youth group. I sat on the parish council. Like, I was in the church.
And same, let me just say, my mom still is very active. She still counts money every Monday at the church. I'm Italian Catholic. It's a huge part
Irish Catholic.
But huge part of my upbringing.
Yeah. So for me, when my awakening started, and I was about 18 when my awakening started, I started rebuking, as many people do in that age. Any of you who are raising teenagers or have ever raised teenagers, you'll know they become defiant, right? And they push against the rules. And part of my awakening was having me push against the strict rigor and requirements of my Catholic faith. And what I loved when I started discovering spirituality was that there really was nobody who would tell me that it was wrong. And if those people told me that I was wrong, then they probably weren't very far down the spiritual path, because spirituality, it's certainly in my discovery, is really about the development of your personal relationship with your idea of creation.
Say that again.
It's the development of your personal relationship with your idea of creation. And the beautiful thing about defining it that way is that it doesn't limit us to what creator looks like. So when I first started my spiritual journey, there was definitely a God who was benevolent and maybe was up in the sky, and there was a heaven, because I had come from a very Catholic tradition. And so that was comfortable for me.
Yes. Yeah. And but for me, I guess what was different, I came away from it. Like, as soon as I got away to university, I got away from my faith. So I did my religion, and I went to church every Sunday and all of those things. But it wasn't because of my belief system. It wasn't because I believed and I was happy to be part of the community. It's because that's where I was raised, and it's just what I did. I didn't know any different. When I went away to university, I found my local church. My mom made me register there and get my envelopes, and all that good stuff. I had my envelopes, but I never went, ever. Not once. I don't even know it was at Western. And then I didn't go back to the church until I needed something from it, which was that I needed to get married. And in order for me to get married, I had to be, attending church again. But between the ages of, say, 18 when I left, and then 25 when I had to go do my pre-Cana courses and get the permission to get married into the church, I just went away from my faith completely. So I wasn't so much, going and questioning what I had been taught. I just decided I was an atheist, and I just didn't believe in anything ever again anymore. Period. On that. That was it. I don't believe in anything, and that was that. And then I started to have my own awakening and my own journey. Like I think for most people, we get to a place where we need some help, right? So I got to a place in my life where I was looking for something more. I was looking for help. I asked the universe for help. I didn't ask God. I went down to my favorite spot, which was the lake. And I asked for help, and in came the first person that, put that light bulb on for me, that something more exists here. And so, of course, I didn't know that at the time, but we've been reflecting a little bit this week about like where we've come from and what we've done. And I see now like how it's just the same, and as someone praying to God, right? And if that's what your belief system is, that's fantastic. That's great. In the end, we're understanding, I think, coming to a place where we're understanding that there's something greater outside of us, a force that exists, that's greater than Well, it's part of us, really, not greater than us, but
well, in the beginning, though, for me, it really was about greater.
Yes, yeah. As I'm saying,
really
the words, it was for
about
me
greater,
too.
but now, like, my awakening was almost 30 years ago, right? So over those 3 decades of sort of exploration and probing and always looking for another deeper truth, because the thing is that what you learn is true is only true until you learn there's something else true. It's like that. You know those Russian dolls who are stacked together, you take the lid off. Oh, this is the truth. Oh no, wait. Oh no, wait.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. I feel like it's a lot like that.
Yes.
It really is a spiral journey. And now I've come to the place where I don't believe that there is necessarily a creator without me. I feel like a creator is within me and I am creator. But that's where I am today.
Right. Who knows where we'll be tomorrow.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I really want to encourage you to allow yourself to explore. When my awakening started, it began with a little book. Has anybody heard of the Celestine Prophecy?
Yes.
The Celestine Prophecy was like a #1 bestseller. It had just come out, like back when bestsellers weren't online, right? Like this is actual paper books. I read the Celestine Prophecy, and that was my first introduction to energy. And that happened at the same time as I read The Mists of Avalon, which I think you've read.
No, I haven't read that one. I know. Yeah, you always say that. I gotta read it.
She has to read it. I have 4 copies in this house. Maybe you're going home with one today.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. The Mists of Avalon is a fantasy book, and it's a pagan retelling from the feminine perspective of the legends of King Arthur and his court.
Cool. Wow. Yeah, I need to read that.
And the main character is Morgan, who in common days we see her as the devil and the evil who led her down the way. But in The Mists of Avalon, I learned about priestesses and goddesses, and about the power of meditation and the power of thought to create your reality. So I'm reading that book at the same time as I'm reading the Celestine Prophecy, and that really formed my faith for a lot of years. I still read The Mists of Avalon every year. I'm in the middle of rereading it now. It's kind of like my Bible.
Yeah.
But
I reread Celestine every year.
Do you?
Yeah. I started with Celestine too, actually, in high school in a religion class where they were like teaching us more.
Really?
Yeah. It was, but don't fool yourself.
Amazing.
It was more about like
how they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, we read that one and another one called The Mutant Message from Down Under, and it was to give us alternative perspectives, but then to bring us back to God, right?
Right.
So when I read, when I read Celestine, it didn't land for me at that time because I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I came back to it in my journey and was like, damn, this is it. This is my awakening. Like each chapter, felt like I was living it real time. I would read the chapter and they would talk about synchronicities, and then I'd be experiencing synchronicities. And then I would read the chapter that talked about soul family, and I was connecting to my soul family here on earth. And I was like, wow, shit, this stuff is good.
Yeah. So I want to invite you to allow you to keep shaping and reshaping your ideas of what a higher power maybe is or is not. I want you to relax a little bit.
Yeah. And let's talk like a little bit more, because I know we said we're going to try to keep them to 20 minutes. We've got a few minutes left here, but let's just talk a little bit more about how you can't get it wrong. And I want to talk about, like, while you're going through this process and while you're awakening and you're meeting different teachers and mentors along the way, they're all going to come in for different reasons and different purposes. And I'm going to just talk boldly for a minute that, like, if you do run into a teacher or to someone that's telling you you're getting wrong, that's a big red flag for you, because you can't get exploration wrong.
Yes.
Right? You can't.
Yes.
So when you're learning, like I ran into this in the beginning of my journey where, you maybe don't yet see yourself for how powerful you really are. Okay. And we're all just as powerful as the next person, but depending on where you're at in your journey, you just might not see yourself as that. And often, because we're in that space vibrationally where we're unsure if we have it right, we'll look to people that we consider mentors and leaders ahead of us. And we need them on our journey. They're a very important part of your journey of awakening.
100%.
And I just want to add the caveat to that it's really important that you're always putting yourself at the forefront, what you feel, what your intuition is telling you. So for example, I don't know, this might seem like a silly example, but you have a dream, and you interpret it to mean what it feels like for you. And then someone comes in and says, oh, no, it doesn't mean that. When you dream this, it means X, Y, Z and whatever. Well, I would come back to say to you, no, what you feel is paramount. And so if you're new to your awakening journey and you're looking to people for guidance, don't lose yourself in that. Don't forget that you're at the center of your awakening. So what's true for you isn't going to be true for everybody. And guidance is just that, guidance. It's not Bible. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
And all human teachers are fallible. We make mistakes. That's our job as humans, is to get out there. Like you said at the beginning, I'm only farther down because I've made more mistakes than you. Your job is to get out there and test out your theories and ideas and then make a mistake. And sometimes those mistakes will look like friendships that end. Sometimes those mistakes will look like embarrassing moments for you where you've said something that's totally out of alignment with yourself and you feel your disconnect from it. And normally, if we're really rooted in the human experience in that moment, we end up being extra defensive. If you find yourself extra defensive, you have come up against a truth that you don't actually hold to be true. And it's an invitation to become introspective, right?
Yes.
And challenge yourself, allow yourself to be challenged.
Always. There's so much growth there. There's been lots that I've attached to in this journey, right? And before, but in this journey that I've attached to as truth. And then that changed for me. And if I can't allow myself to shift and change who I am, what I believe, then I can't allow myself to grow. So you're not attached to your statements. You're not attached to your beliefs. I mean, not fully. You can shift them. You can change them.
Do you know what I think? When we become attached like that, we are creating our own dogma. And this is why one of the spiritual laws of the universe and one of the key commitments of Buddhism and Taoism is the law of non-attachment, right? Because you have to be able to be flexible and to learn more. And I think a key that I didn't know was a key until very recently is laughing. Like laughing at yourself in that moment when you find yourself being extra defensive. Then you have to go, whoa, what am I saying? Oh my God, I got so bitchy there. What happened?
And I'm sure you can all relate to a time where you've done that. And then in retrospect or hindsight, you're like, holy shit, what was I thinking? I'm thinking about this is like, no, it's not even related to awakening at all. But my sister and her husband, when they were first married, they loved to travel. And I was like such a homebody at that time. I was not interested in any travel. And I can remember, my sister reminds me of this all the time. We're sitting around the dinner table and they're talking about saving their money. And I was like, traveling's so stupid. Why would anyone want to travel? I'm going to build my roots here in my world where I can make a difference. I'm going to stay right here in my community. I don't need to see the world to know that more exists about myself and blah, blah, blah. And like so judgmental. And I was so attached. I don't know why it was so... I don't know. I guess because I was afraid to step out of my comfort zone, really.
And maybe you were identifying a need that you wanted, but didn't know how to reach.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was not in reach for me. And the person I was with at the time was not interested in doing that kind of stuff. And so she always reminds me of how attached I was to that. And then I began to travel myself and see the world. And it changed my perspective on everything. And so whenever I find myself in that, no, never. As soon as those words come out of my mouth, I'm like, remember, you never wanted to travel? You thought traveling and seeing the world was stupid when you were 20? You thought it was dumb, right? Anyway, just sharing. Anybody have any questions for us? Because you're here. You can ask us some comments,
like all of you saying hello.
It's so awesome. Fran's here. Hi, Fran.
Hi, Fran. Hi, Ian. This has been, I think, an excellent case study. And not getting things wrong. We shared at the start of this video about all the things that went sideways and how easily we could have retracted and pulled back into our comfort zone
but we didn't.
Just going live on Facebook. But really the beauty is in the pushing through.
Yeah, we didn't. We just created a space where we have a TV show on YouTube. See how easy that was?
It's so fun.
Look, I'm a TV star. Look, I'm on TV.
Look at us. We're talk show hosts.
Yes, we are. That's right. Yeah, I guess we're not on TV.
We're on the spiritual social.
See, you just watch something be born out of us practicing.
So our plan is to be back here again in 2 weeks. And I think in 2 weeks' time, we'll be streaming from your page.
Yeah, we're going to figure that out. We'll figure that out. But yes, that's kind of the plan, is that we'll switch in between spirited healing and Rise with Amanda, our YouTube channels, because both of us are going to be using them more.
So you can subscribe here. I don't know if you want to subscribe to this channel, but if you look below, you'll see there's the link to my Spirited Healing channel, which is the one we really mean to strive from, from. So you can subscribe there, and then we'll tell you, like, remind you to subscribe on Amanda's channel next time. You can seek it out. It's a channel called Rise with Amanda Perrone.
I think so. I think so. All my members, you'll all know, because I have a YouTube channel, but you have to be a paid member right now to use any of the videos that are on there.
Right, because they're listed as unlisted.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll be able to find it and subscribe there, and then these will be public, as well as I'm putting some archived videos up in public. Yeah.
So follow us on our channels. Follow us on our Facebook pages where we still are. I'm at Spirited Healing is my business page, and then the Spirited Healing Village is my group.
And I'm Rise with Amanda is my business page, and Rise is my free group that I run. And let us know, like, we have a list of topics that we're going to start going through, like You Can't Get It Wrong.
I can't remember.
I can't remember the other ones. They're on the list somewhere. But if you have questions that you want us to address for you about our own journeys, we're both more than willing, as you all know, anyone who knows us knows that we're willing to share our journeys, because it's how we all grow, right? And that's
ceremony. We were going to talk about ceremony and respecting the traditions that you do work with, practical knowings, like how all of this works,
integration, because that's such a huge piece. Integrating, it's beautiful, these concepts that we work through, but it's something different to integrate them into your life and to actually, get out there and practice and do, because that's how it becomes part of who you are.
So we'll be here again in 2 weeks, and we would love to see you. And until then, we hope that you are well.
We hope that you shine, as you should.
Indeed. Much love, everybody.
Lots of love, everyone.
Thanks for being
joining
us.
Yes, bye. Talk to you soon.